Okay, guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. This is Jay Ayyo, and we are going to be talking about the election that is coming up in the Bahamas on May 12th. So, the Bahamas, as we all know, or as you all should know, they'll be heading to the polls 12. There will be what I would say the Progressive Liberal Party going up against the Free National Movement in the Bahamas. Now, currently, well, as it stood, um, the PLP had 32 seats and the FNM had 7 seats. Now, the question really is, campaign is going on, nomination day um, is either has come up or has passed, and when individual candidates or parties get into campaigning, you somewhat have egos that can either get bruised, because everyone wants to win. Don't get me wrong. Individuals who are putting themselves forward for a member of parliament or a member of the legislature, they want to win. And in some instances, I don't want to say they will do anything to win, but things can get personal. And it is important to not take things personal. However, um, being in the Caribbean and being individuals or being Caribbean people that are vocal, sometimes it is hard to not take things personal. If something is said to you um, in confidence, or you say something to someone in confidence and they bring it out on the political arena, it makes you distrust that individual. And these parties do know each other. Most of them were either formed out of struggles that were existing back in the formation, or the parties are somewhat back then looking to be the voice for the population that either was suffering or either needed some relief. Now, these parties do know each other. These individuals are all friends, and they do sit at the same table. However, using the Westminster uh, parliamentary system, the role of democracy, uh, and rather the parliament and the parties are supposed to be adversarial in nature, which supports democracy, where you have different thoughts and views coexisting. However, what is termed is that the government will have their way, but the opposition will have their say. Uh, to look at specifically when nomination day comes up, who's put up, these are the official candidates. So when the respective parties start campaigning, um, candidates are going to want to drum up as much support as possible. Now, sometimes during campaigning, things can get a bit violent. You may have constituents who may not like one party and may be so emboldened to say, oh, I'm gonna do something, or certain things happen. And so the police plays a important role in being this guard for democracy and not allowing things to get out of control, in maintaining order and peace, because things can get out of control. And if you've had a party in that you don't deem should be in, and they've only worked with their group of people, allegedly. And I use that term because when your party doesn't get in, sometimes you don't get all the things that you want to have done, or things that you wanted to see in your street or in your community done. So sometimes it gets a bit frustrating when what I would say, voting doesn't go the way of the voter. And I think sometimes it's important to bear in mind that though the vote may not have gone your way, you still have to participate. And I think when we have accountability measures, whether that's the Auditor General, the Director of Public Prosecution, there are certain mechanisms enshrining the Constitution that are supposed to keep um, the government in check. And it can sometimes be a blurred line to keep the government in check when the government is the one that's paying you, i.e., the police, the Auditor General, the Director of Public Prosecution, the Complaints Commissioner. But the positions being enshrined in Constitution is supposed to allow some independence of the government to say, well, yes, we understand that you pay us, but our role and our job is to be independent and to be neutral and to not pick any sides. Now, you know, going back, I would say it can be difficult and it hasn't always worked out perfect. And if you look at Jamaica in the 90s, there was some vocal and physical altercations that have happened, which people dying, and because people feel so strong about their party and they really support their party and their party ideals, that sometimes things can get physical. But I do think also that the built up frustration that the electorate has, it plays a part into voter apathy, whether trust is there, and whether people feel that they should vote, because when things aren't 100% clear and people feel aggrieved, it does impact the electoral process. Now, notwithstanding that, both parties do play a role in this, and sometimes when they do not put things in check, it will cause a problem. So for the Bahamas, 21 seats are needed for a majority. um, we know we have the Progressive Liberal Party who will be seeking to retain the government, and you have the Free National Movement who will be seeking to say, we think we have what it takes at the end of the day. I may do a live stream to see how the votes turn out. It is super interesting to see what is happening right now in the Bahamas. There are some issues going on with the Electoral Commission there, and them maintaining some level of neutrality and due process as it pertains to making sure that candidates are registered, making sure that residents are registered, because your registration card can expire. Elections happen every 4 years, and sometimes the cards are only valid for a certain time. So if you're not on the list, um, or you haven't updated your card, or you've moved to a different constituency or district, you will need to re-register so that the presiding officer is able to put you in the right district that you need. Because if you're not in the right district, you'll have to go to your original district, and that could be either a boat ride or a flight ride. So it's really important to know the ground rules as it relates to when voting. When voting, make sure you show up at the poll earlier than expected, because if you wait too late, there'll be a long line. So the earlier you go, the better. In some cases, when people are still in the line and the voting time has ended, depending on how the electoral regulation is set up, you're still allowed to vote until the last person in the line. But that varies from country to country. Agents of certain parties will be there, political candidates will be there, and parties will look at busing people in to make sure that they get the opportunity to vote. And guys, voting is a huge privilege and a right. Not everyone has the opportunity, the right, and the privilege to vote. So do ensure that you make your mark with the candidate that you choose, and also read the manifestos of the Free National Movement, of the progressive liberal party as well, and look at which one is the best for you. And if you have a candidate that you don't really like, but you like the party, sometimes you know people will have to choose the party regardless if they don't like the respective individual, um, as such. Guys, those are my few comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you in the next video.